There's plenty of fallout for Snoop Dogg after performing at Donald Trump's inauguration.
We agree to disagree a lot, and it ain't always on the same page. Get your life right. Stop worrying about mine. Donald say he wants to run for president and move on into the White House. Why not? It wouldn't be the first time you pushed a black family out of their home.
The West Coast legend is absolutely fuming, and he's not holding back one bit. With his signature swagger and that intense energy we all know and love, Snoop is reminding everyone exactly why he's still considered rap royalty. But here's the tea. This isn't just Snoop doing his usual barking. No. This time he's actually biting. His explosive reaction has everyone's tongues wagging, and people are dying to know, who are these rappers that are doing Snoop so dirty? And let's be real for a minute. Is Snoop even innocent in all this drama? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like karma might have finally caught up with him.
So Snoop sat down with Larry Jackson.
Get this. For years, Snoop has been absolutely ruthless, throwing shade at anyone who even dared to breathe in Trump's direction. But now, oh, how the tables have turned. He's found himself in the hot seat after cozying up to Trump's inner circle, and those same voices that used to cheer him on, they're making sure he can't just slink away from this one. We're talking heavy hitters like D.L. Hewley and Anna Navarro going for blood, and Elon Musk. He's out here making sure nobody misses the delicious irony of it all. I mean, seriously, what is up with Snoop, and why is he so pressed about all this?
Cooperation, it begins with the leadership in this body. So thank you for that, Mr. President. You make our jobs a lot easier. You made an important point.
Listen, it's clear Snoop's been tossing and turning at night, and honestly, it shows. He's not just angry, he's hurt, and I get it. He feels like everyone's coming for his throat. So what does he do? He hops on Instagram to remind everyone that he's black, still black, always been black. I mean, really.
Yeah. Get your life right. Stop worrying about mine. I'm cool. I'm together. Still a black man. Still 100% black.
But let's spill the real tea here. That's not even what had people heated. And if Snoop thought that little reminder would shut everyone up, child, please. It did exactly the opposite. And the backlash? It was brutal. You can't ignore how orchestrated these takedowns feel. It's like the internet has turned into its own little justice system, turning fan movements into full-blown criticism campaigns. And right now, Snoop's the one in their crosshairs. The fallout was immediate. We're talking about losing nearly 600,000 Instagram followers overnight. Can you even?
The rapper speaking out on Instagram after reportedly losing over 500,000 followers on the platform. A move triggered by angry fans who aren't cool with Snoop performing for 47.
But honey, losing followers is just the appetizer in this mess. What's really got everyone talking is how the industry's completely flipped the script on him. Those same media personalities, fellow artists, and cultural voices that used to sing his praises for speaking his mind, they're now the ones leading the charge against him. And if that's not enough drama for you, Trump's presence in entertainment has turned the whole industry into this wild battleground where you never know if your next move is going to be your last.
And finally, Donald Trump's presidential win has sparked an exodus of American celebrities, many of whom are now seeking refuge abroad.
Just look at what happened with Cardi B. We all know she's never been one to bite her tongue, always speaking her mind. But after Trump's re-election, girl, she lost it. She straight up declared, "I hate everyone that voted for Donald Trump." And just like that, snap, her own fans turned on her faster than yesterday's news. They came for her, calling her too emotional, too pushy, out of touch. But did Cardi back down? Of course not. She doubled down and nearly started World War III with her own supporters, calling them toxic and saying she's done dealing with them.
Hey, so listen, I'm gonna let y'all know this right now, okay? So you little trumpets, like, y'all won. I know you're happy, whatever the fuck. Ain't nobody acting like bitter losers. However, y'all need to leave me the alone.
And then there's Ellen DeGeneres. Now she saw the writing on the wall and didn't even try to fight it. Remember when she said she'd bounce if Trump got reelected? Well, unlike some people who just talk the talk, Ellen actually walked the walk. She packed up, sold her estate, and sailed off to the UK with Portia. No statements, no debates. She just said bye Felicia and dipped.
Latest one to join the list is former TV show host Ellen DeGeneres, who along with her partner Portia de Rossi has swapped the stars and stripes for the Union Jack.
Even Saturday Night Live, which basically built entire seasons around roasting Trump, had to switch up their game. After years of dragging him through the mud, they suddenly started serving their criticism with a side of sarcasm. They even had cast members half-jokingly apologizing for dismissing Trump too early, like they knew they played a part in how this whole mess turned out. I mean, when SNL starts backpedaling, you know something major has shifted in the universe. So now poor Snoop finds himself caught in this mess. Sure, plenty of artists have had to play this game, but somehow Snoop's the one getting dragged through the mud the hardest. So what's really the tea here? Are people really trying to hold him accountable, or is he just the latest name on the industry's hit list of people getting punished for stepping out of line? Let me tell you about the heat Snoop's been catching with his performance. Though honestly, he should have seen this coming from a mile away. Elon Musk, being the messy queen he is, made sure to point out the irony by pulling receipts. We're talking a side-by-side comparison of Snoop's old anti-Trump rants next to footage of him performing at Trump's crypto ball. And just to twist the knife, Musk captioned it, "The vibe shift is real." Translation: Snoop honey, you just played yourself, and the timing, absolutely devastating. This wasn't just about some performance, it was about Snoop going from Trump's biggest critic to willingly cashing in at an event linked to the same man he once called racist. And Musk wasn't the only one spilling the tea. His tweet sparked an absolute internet meltdown.
What has he done to show that he hates black people? Let's look at before he ran for president the first time. All you seen him with was fucking rappers and entertainers. All you seen him in every rap song, niggas love Trump.
Honey, the Shade Room and Baller Alert weren't about to let Snoop off easy either. They dug up all his old receipts, including that infamous Instagram rant where he dragged artists for even thinking about performing for Trump. Remember when he called them all sellouts? Well, the internet police worked overtime, darling. Twitter users flooded the timeline with reminders of Snoop's past statements, and the Instagram comments, chilly, they were all variations of, "Snoop, you played yourself." Some even brought up Michelle Obama, saying she had more backbone than these rappers because she refused to engage with Trump at all. And get this juicy bit of tea, some people started bringing up Snoop's history of switching sides when it suited him. They're talking about his drama with Suga Knight, how he left Kendrick Lamar hanging during the Drake beef. It all started adding up in people's minds like a messy puzzle.
I'm one to accept truth when it's brought to me directly. What had happened was, I did a collaborative post with someone. When I do it, I don't listen to the music. Then I get the word, nephew, didn't like what you did. What did I do?
So while Musk just threw in a shady little laughing emoji, the internet took that ball and ran with it. Now Snoop found himself in a position he never thought he'd be in, getting roasted by the same culture he once led. But oh honey, if you thought Elon was the only big name calling him out, just wait until you hear what D.L. Hewley and Anna Navarro had to say. Now D.L. Hewley, he took the frontline role in checking Snoop over this whole mess. Remember how quick he was to drag Kanye when he started cozying up to Trump? Well, he was just as quick to come for Snoop.
That we always stick together, we're good at tearing each other apart. Which is pretty constant. It's pretty consistent when somebody gets into trouble. It takes backlash from the community. It's always a communal thing.
And chilly, Hewley didn't just throw words around. He hit Snoop where it hurt. He said Snoop needs to take a long, hard look in the mirror. I mean, how do you go from being one of the loudest voices against Trump, dragging other rappers who performed for him, to collecting a check at a Trump-affiliated event? Hewley wasn't even mad, he was just disappointed, and we all know that's worse.
To a situation like that, you tell us we can't stick together. We've shown you we have. We've shown you we did. We voted in more specific numbers than any other demographic in the nation. We did stick together.
But wait, there's more tea to spill. Hewley wasn't alone in this. Anna Navarro came through on The View, and baby, she did not hold back. She went straight for the jugular, declaring that Snoop has officially lost all credibility. She dragged him for flip-flopping when the money was right, calling it embarrassing for someone who spent years branding himself as too real for politics.
January 7th, 2021. But you were there now, applauding him like a trained seal? Donald Trump has not changed. You've changed.
Now here's where it gets even juicier. Navarro pointed out something that had everyone nodding. This isn't the first time we've seen this kind of switch up in the industry. She reminded everyone how other artists got completely canceled for doing exactly what Snoop just did. And just like that, the backlash got even louder. At this point, it wasn't just Twitter dragging him, he was getting flamed on national TV. But Snoop wasn't the only one catching strays. While he was out here trying to defend himself, other artists who performed at Trump events started feeling the heat too. Let's be real, we all knew this was coming. Rick Ross, Nelly, and Jewel weren't about to walk away from this unscathed. The moment Snoop took the heat, it was only a matter of time before everyone else got pulled into this mess.
There are a lot of rappers who have sided with Donald Trump for all kinds of, he pardoned several of them.
Giving away pardons.
John Rich, the country music artist, made sure to call them all out first, saying these were the same artists who once swore they'd never align with Trump, and now they're collecting checks from his events. And honestly, he wasn't wrong. Just a few years ago, most of these artists wouldn't even breathe near anything Trump-related. And if John Rich wasn't enough, Sunny Hostin had her say too. She brought up Chrisette Michelle's career, which basically vanished after she performed at Trump's 2017 inauguration. Yet somehow, these male rappers are getting a pass? But here's the thing. Just like with Snoop, these criticisms hit them where it hurt. Someone had to respond, and who else but Nelly? Nelly seemingly didn't fold under pressure. He jumped on an interview and basically said he doesn't care what people think, making it clear this wasn't about politics, just business.
It's more about just respect for the office. You know what I mean? It's not about a campaign. This is not a campaign trail. This is not anything that I feel like I'm influencing people to sway either way on how they feel, but it's more about the respect and the honor.
And for some people, that explanation actually worked. After all, plenty of artists perform at events without agreeing with the politics behind them. But Snoop? Chile, he wasn't getting that same grace. His entire brand was built on clowning Trump and anyone who stood next to him. So while Nelly, Ross, and Jewel could brush off the backlash, Snoop was still neck-deep in it. And the question still stands. Was this just about a performance, or was the industry making an example out of him?
How about Death Row? How many relationships you got with Death Row?
Everybody. What is Suge's role? What's Suge's role in all of this?
What role?
I mean, Ross, what's Suge's role?
Let me ask you a question. Suge Knight, did that man change your life ever?
He changed my life forever. Suge Knight was one of the best that I ever ran across in my life. For the simple fact that he was so honest, so real, so true.
The contradictions just keep piling up, and if there's one person who isn't surprised by any of this, it's Suga Knight. According to him, this is just who Snoop has always been. Not as loyal as he claims to be. Remember when the East Coast-West Coast war was at its peak? Snoop was on death row, riding with Suga and Tupac, but when things got too real, suddenly he was on the fence. In a now infamous interview, Snoop suggested that Biggie and Diddy were his friends, which didn't sit well with Pac or Suge. That moment, it caused a rift that never really healed.
And then he started getting calls and shit, and they was telling him that Tupac got shot and da-da-da-da-da, this, that, and this.
Only way you would have a radio if you was at the fight with us and you had a security detail.
Suge has never trusted Snoop since then, especially after what went down with Death Row Records. He's made it crystal clear in multiple interviews that Snoop's loyalty shifts based on where the power is. First, he was riding for Death Row, then suddenly he was shaking hands with Master P and No Limit to save his career, and now he's performing at events tied to Trump.
You think Snoop Dogg is a rat?
What you mean by that?
Look at this camera, because Snoop Dogg got to order protection on Suge Knight. And Suge Knight calls my phone every other week.
What you mean he got to order protection?
He got to order protection on Suge Knight in the 90s. The whole West Coast know about it.
But wait, it gets even messier. Suge's latest interview from prison, he doubled down hard on these claims. He straight up said Snoop was part of Tupac's downfall, and if that wasn't enough tea for you, Suge even hinted that Snoop told Daz Dillinger to stay away from Vegas the night Pac was shot because something's going to happen.
But Snoop, Daz, and the rest of them, they did a song with one of the niggas from that side who was in the car.
And now Snoop and Diddy are suddenly besties? Chile, Suga is not buying it. He said if Snoop really cared about Pac's legacy, he wouldn't be aligning himself with the same people Pac was beefing with. To make things worse, Suge has been running his mouth about how Snoop got Death Row back, claiming it was all through shady business moves, bankruptcy fraud, and backdoor deals. And based on how this Trump situation played out, Suge might have had a point. But if you thought that was the end of the criticism, honey, you'd be wrong. Because the Joe Budden podcast, Power 106, and Reggie Wright all had something to say too.
And besides, let's just put all that to the side. Are we not allowed to change our minds when we gain new information? Maybe he fell for the media propaganda of, oh, Trump's a racist, Trump is this, Trump is bad.
It was no shock that Joe Budden and his crew had thoughts about Snoop's latest controversy. The way they saw it, Snoop should have seen this coming the moment he stepped on that stage.
Biggest rapper today, is the Shaquille O'Neal of rap. That crypto ball, you know what crypto is doing. You know they paying 100x what you would typically get.
Joe took a witty but brutal approach, saying Snoop's problem wasn't just the backlash, it was the fact that he acted like people wouldn't notice. They reminded everyone that Snoop had spent years being one of Trump's loudest critics, trashing any black artist who even thought about performing for him, and now he's out here cashing checks at a Trump-affiliated event.
We did see Snoop a couple years ago thanking Trump for pardoning Harry O, who was the original founder of Death Row Records, which Snoop now owns.
But Budden's crew wasn't shocked at all. To them, this was just business over morals, plain and simple. They brought up Snoop's deep ties to the cryptocurrency world, pointing out that this wasn't just some random gig. It was a crypto-funded event that probably aligned perfectly with his financial interests.
It wasn't the inauguration.
Well, it was the party the day before.
It was a crypto.
It was a few days before.
Thing, a crypto event a few days before. And Snoop is heavy into the crypto world.
Charlemagne the God over at Power 106 couldn't have said it better. He spilled the real tea, saying the issue isn't just about the performance, it's about the hypocrisy. He reminded everyone how Chrisette Michelle's career was absolutely destroyed for performing at Trump's first inauguration, and yet Snoop, Nelly, and the others are just catching some light criticism. The double standard? Honey, it was impossible to ignore.
You know, the hypocrisy that people display in regards to who they like and don't like is mind-blowing to me. Like, there is no way you are more mad at rappers for performing at these inauguration events than you are.
And Reggie Wright? He went straight for the jugular. His take was simple. Snoop knew exactly what he was doing, and he's only mad because he got called out. Reggie called him a politician and a sellout, saying this is just another example of Snoop playing both sides whenever it benefits him. And while all this drama was unfolding, Stephen A. Smith actually came to Snoop's defense. He argued that artists should be able to do business without being crucified for it.
I'm telling you what Snoop told me. I have permission from him to say this to y'all. If he didn't want me to tell y'all this, I won't be telling y'all none of this. Because I ain't violating nobody's trust.
Now that all the damage is done, everyone's wondering, how does Snoop bounce back from this, or does he even care? His silence is speaking volumes, louder than any excuse could. What he thought was just another performance has turned into a full-blown crisis. The internet's been ruthless, the industry voices have spoken, and even his old friends are giving him the side-eye.
Ain't nobody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh? Which one of you jigaboo ass gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the out one of you.
So here's the million-dollar question. Did Snoop set himself up for failure, or is this just another case of selective outrage? Is this really about holding artists accountable, or is there a double standard at play? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this tea is still piping hot. And if you thought this was wild, just wait till you see what's coming next. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Click the next video and see for yourself. Video.